329590, Joshua Clive Woodhouse, group project vlog. So first, how I felt I did. Well, I feel like I could have done a lot more work. I did everything assigned to me, but I just didn't put in enough graft, really. I could have got a lot more assigned to me. I felt like my communication was okay. When I had problems, I tended to talk about it with my peers. We all got along pretty well. I didn't really cause any problems or anything like that, no arguments. Uh, yeah, everybody kind of like meshed really well together. It was more of a team thing, though. I'll probably come back to this point later. Next, how I felt the team did. I felt like the team did great. That's why I feel so bad about not working hard, really, because we all worked quite hard. Everybody had great communication. We all got along really well together, and we all had a similar idea. And yeah, and we all wanted to. We had a separate Discord, obviously, and we were all talking in there. And a lot of communication in that Discord about how things, how to solve problems and stuff like that. I had quite a few issues when I was doing my stuff. They were revolving to the AI and the fact that I don't know much about Unreal Engine. A bit more like uni, don't know much about Unreal Engine, so I was basically learning as I went. Not to excuse anything, I definitely could have done more, but yeah. So, team did great. Don't know what else to say, really. We all meshed really well. There was rarely any arguments. I can't think of a single argument. There was some disagreements on how to do things, and when I pitched a lot of my stuff about how I planned to fix the AI, because one of my main things that was given to me was to fix the fact that the AI won't go off ledges and stuff like that, and make it so it felt balanced to the player and they could catch the player and stuff, and stuff like that. Also, stuff with the animations, because the other thing I did, the animations and stuff, and I made the model for the penguin in the end. That was because I was relying on somebody else in the team, and to be fair, he did tons of work, so it's not like I'm mad, but I was relying on somebody else in the team giving me some stuff to make, like, animate and stuff like that, but I just never came through, so I ended up doing it myself, and I felt like that turned out pretty good, but that was all approved by the team. We talked about that in like Discord DMs and stuff like that before I did it, and I felt like it was the right decision. We all seemed to agree it was the right decision. So yeah, but there was disagreements about tons of stuff like the art style and stuff like that. But we all came together and we were all willing to compromise, which was great. There was nobody was really particularly stubborn. We were all willing to work together and make compromise. If you don't feel like something was the best thing, we were all willing to maybe change how we might wanted to do things because somebody else might have thought something else was better and stuff like that. Every time something was made, we all looked at it and we were like, yes, this is good. We all agreed together and we all meshed really well together. So, teamwork theory. So one thing I looked at was the 4 phases of Tuckerman's teamwork theory. So I'm going to talk about that into relation about how we did. So you got forming, which is when the team comes together, everybody's sizing each other up, and it recommends we do team building techniques and stuff like that. I mean, we mostly just talked a lot, really. We were all friends beforehand, in a way. We weren't friends, but we all got along really well. We all meshed. Everybody was very polite to each other. Even the ones that were like introverted, everybody understood that, and we got along really well. So it wasn't really too much of a problem, but that's the start. You got storming, where we're coming up with ideas. We did that really well. There were a lot of ideas thrown around that room, but we knew this is something you'd actually have to make, and we had to be reasonable. And that was one of the big points in the room, is we had to make something reasonable. We don't want to go too overboard. But we also don't go too underboard. You don't want to make something boring. And we all agreed in the end. There were a lot of differing opinions. I originally wanted to be a lot more graphic, to be frank. That's the type of thing I like, but obviously that's harder to sell. Not a lot of people like that. We like that kind of that kind of metal aesthetic, I suppose. And, I was willing to move on that for the benefit of everybody else, and we were all really good at that. So, we did things like well, we didn't really do any diagrams, but we talked a lot. We had proper meetings and stuff. We had a meeting every week. Yeah. We all agreed what we were all doing. We all gave each other our tasks. Everybody was given roles, and we spec'd out each other's skills in case, for example, something like with that penguin not having any animation. I just did that because there wasn't really anybody else to do it, but everybody knew I knew how to do that. So, yeah. Norming. Already talked about that. I talked about that in Storming, which was a bit of a mistake, but yeah. Basically we already meshed beforehand, so a lot of these steps are a bit more irrelevant because we were already quite meshed together when we started. Everybody got along really well beforehand anyway. So there's stuff like growing that sense of togetherness. We're already really like that, really. So we already did phases of this before we'd even started performing. Yeah, we got it done in the end, but I feel like I definitely could have done more work. I don't like blaming other people, and I won't. But we all needed to drive each other a bit more, I think, and that's not to excuse the fact that I didn't do terribly much. But I feel like, again, I'm not trying to make an excuse, but I feel like as a team we all could have tried to push each other a bit more on the topic. We all kind of put it in the back end when we had other stuff to do, and that wasn't the best move, to be honest. Probably would have been a better move if we just agreed, get it done. If you set proper deadlines, we didn't have deadlines. We were just told to do stuff and get it done eventually. I feel like deadlines would have been a much better approach to that. Even though it's a lot more stressful, it would have meant things actually got done and we could have held each other accountable, because we weren't really holding each other accountable. We didn't get something done that way. And I'm specifically saying this was like... How do I phrase this? For example, I'd say I'd get something done one week and I wouldn't get it done that week because things came up. And to be honest, if I really smashed out, I probably could have got those things done that week. But I wasn't being held accountable. And this isn't to excuse myself, because even though I'm not being held accountable, I should be living by my own principle. But I wasn't being held accountable, and that probably didn't help. And there was a similar thing with some other people too, where they say they get something done one week. Not really an agreed deadline, but you're like, yeah, I think I can get that done by this week. And nobody's really holding each other accountable. I think that led to a lot of issues and a lot of stuff being done last minute. So yeah. For example, with that model, that was going to animate. Gary's great, but if we had a deadline, it probably would have been there on time. If we held each other accountable. Not specifically just him, because he was definitely not the issue throughout the entire project, because he was really good. Gary's a great worker. I wish I had his motivation, to be honest, but in everything. Anyway, I'm going into off-topic stuff. So yeah. So that's Tuckerman's theory. Closing thoughts. I'm gonna give the source to what I was using for the teamwork theory stuff in the description of this YouTube video. Just genuinely, I could have done better. We all could have done better, but specifically me, I feel like I could have done better. I feel guilty, to be honest. I definitely could have done better. And I will do better. So, anything specific I could talk about? Yeah, I already mentioned most of it. With the AI stuff, there was a big debate about whether they should fly or they should use the jump pads. Because when they used the jump pads, it was very hard for them to get to the player. Again, I probably could have made that system really good, but that would have been a ton of work. I would have to like hardcore the whole thing myself, because they would move in the air, but there's no nav mesh in the air, and even if you turn the nav mesh off, they're not big on moving in the air, so it's really hard for them to get to the player. And I felt, because they were robotic, that the flying looked right. I thought the flying looked good. It was a bit jarring, I suppose, but it made it a lot easier for them to catch the player. And in the end, we ended up agreeing on the flying, but there was a big debate about it. The room was basically 50-50 on that. So we basically just decided whatever's most feasible in the time frame, and that ended up being a lot more feasible in the time frame. So yeah, and with the model, I mean, it works. It wasn't nasty or anything, but you know how it is. Animation could have been better. You know, I had to make that last minute. That's why the animation wasn't great. Also, excuse, but so yeah, that's my vlog, I guess. Have a great day.